You have the show notes open this time? Yeah. Okay.
Hi, I'm Vivian the Knitter.
And I'm Alyson the Crocheter, and you're listening to Keep Calm and Carry Yarn.
Thank you so much for joining us for episode 50 of Keep Calm and Carry Yarn, a knitting and crocheting podcast brought to you by me, Vivian, and my daughter, Alyson. I'm recording from the state of Virginia.
Oh, yeah, and I'm recording from still Scotland. Hello.
Hello there. Or I
Oh
think
my gosh.
it's the Commonwealth of Virginia. I don't
I
know
mean,
what
it is a state.
It is a state, but I'm not sure why.
Right. So if anyone missed that from last week, my mother has moved. She's not just visiting.
Nope, not
That's
this
our
time.
intro is forever changed.
Yeah, you're gonna have to change the map.
Oh, crap. I haven't thought about that for the video version of the podcast.
Yeah.
In case any audio people are wondering what I mean.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
So,
Cool.
oh well.
Yeah. Well, how are you today?
I am recovering from moving and the flu.
The actual flu.
We're not sure if it was the actual flu, but it had all the symptoms of the flu, so I'm just calling it the flu. So
Not just the cold.
it wasn't just a cold, but we'll get into that later. That's why I think I sound a little funny today.
Yeah.
you pick it up?
You sound a little husky.
Husky. I have a sexy husky voice. So you want us? Oh, we didn't thank anybody yet.
I don't think we have anybody to thank today.
Oh, okay. All right. Do you want to go straight into our BuzzFeed? It is. I picked this one, and it's pretty stupid. It's called "We Know Which Cereal Mascot Is Your Secret Soulmate," based on some random things you pick.
Also, why your why your soulmate? Why not like which cereal mascot are you?
I don't know. But I got BuzzBee.
So did I.
So you can read the description then.
It says, yes, I know he's a bee, but don't you remember Vanessa from the Bee Movie? She made it work, and so can you. Plus, he'll keep you endless supplies of honey. You're welcome. And that is one thing. I do really like honey. I can eat honey by the mouth. Not the mouthful, the spoonful.
By the spoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in our family doesn't like. We were just complaining about the biscuits from Kentucky Fried Chicken that we like to eat it with honey, but the little packets that you get from the restaurant aren't actually honey. It's like it's honey something
flavored syrup.
It's pretty gross. So
honey flavored jam.
Not even jam, just goo, honey goo, honey flavored goo. Madeline was very happy when we got takeout from KFC one time and brought it home, and she could use real honey on her biscuits.
And he's from Honey Nut Cheerios, yeah?
Mm-hmm, Honey Nut Cheerios, which wasn't a thing when I was growing up, or didn't become a thing until I was much older, either in high school or something, because he wasn't around when I was little. Yeah.
So we must have at least one answer in a comment. There weren't that many questions. So.
No. What was the background that you picked?
So the options, I went for the field of yellow flowers.
I was very different from that. I picked that swirly magenta paint goop.
Like the abstract.
Looks like paint goop.
Yeah. Okay, what about, well, I think maybe we picked the same... House?
Yeah, it's that little cottage with the picket fence.
Yeah, I think...
What?
Yeah, well, no, I think the leaves and stuff, it just makes... It makes me think of, like, places I've grown up in.
Yeah, makes you think of home.
Yeah, like the Northeast. And
yeah.
That could be, like, a little... It reminds me a bit of... Do you remember the school in Brookline, outside of Boston, where there was, like, this really random house in front of the school?
Right on Harvard Street?
Yeah. Because, like, that it was... I don't know if that used to be the old school.
I think it's a
historical landmark, so that's why it's not knocked down. And it's like weirdly just in the
It does look a
front
little bit
lawn
like that, except it doesn't have the big giant buildings behind it.
Yeah. I mean, I was tempted to just be a bit and go for the massive
The Downton Abbey house?
Yeah. I mean, it's not actually the Downton Abbey house, is it? But
no, but I don't
essentially,
know.
yeah.
It looks kind of like it. What about breakfast?
I went for pancakes and syrup.
Me too.
Okay, see, we had at least 2 in common, which I think probably for this sort of quiz is enough to give us the same answer.
Okay, well, we have to go for the final one. Which art form did you pick?
I went for pottery.
Okay, that was different. I did watercolor.
I think that was my next one, but I've been really eyeing up ceramics and stuff lately. Well, no, we didn't actually do all the questions. The second question was pick an animal, and I said puppy.
Yeah, I picked kitten.
Yeah, I thought you would.
Of course.
I find animal questions like that difficult because
you like them all.
Dog. Well, yeah. Well, if it was pick an animal that isn't cats or dogs, I'd have a different answer. But as soon as a cat or dog is there, it's different than like
the other ones, the fox.
Yeah, like bunny. A fox because they're just different kinds of either pets or not pets at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, do you pick a cat or a dog or puppy based on your mood? Like you're in a cat mood or a dog mood?
Probably. Uh-huh. And the picture of the cat or the dog. Like if it were a chihuahua, I'd probably 100% always pick the cat. If it were a chihuahua.
You've just offended all the chihuahua lovers.
I'm sorry. I am sorry. There is a chihuahua cafe in Edinburgh, and you see them being walked sometimes in the gardens, and just not interested.
I don't understand the point of chihuahuas. Okay. You want to start our crafty sections?
Mm-hmm.
What do you have for whips?
So I have just essentially the same whip as before. I'm still working on my Coeur battant by Rachel Henri, and that's the Tunisian crochet sweater.
Oh, it's coming along. Look at that.
Yeah. So I've done so where was I before? I was just on the body pit. So I've finished I haven't actually finished the body, so I have to go back because at the moment it looks like it's going to be a cardigan, but I have to go back to the side, the closing bits, and crochet more to close it off, so it's a pullover and not a cardigan.
Right now it looks like a vest.
Yeah, I guess it would look more like a vest because, oh, is that right? Well, maybe it doesn't quite look like a cardigan because the sides aren't actually anywhere near enough to actually close. So it would be like an open one. But I've just started the first sleeve. So you pick up where you left off. So because it's a seamless design. It's still seamless if you just don't sew the seams. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're picking up stitches, it's still seamless.
That's seamless. Okay. Yeah. Oh God, I've just
tangled. You're a tangled mess.
I've tangled my yarn and my cable and my headphones. Great. Yeah, so I've just picked up for the sleeves, and I've done just a couple rows, and it's done because it's Tunisian. I've never done Tunisian in the round, and I don't know if you can, because obviously you have to go. Well, you should know because you did learn how to do it. You do your forward pass, and then you do your return pass. So the sort of I don't really know how you would do that in the round, but the way you do it for this pattern, at least, you kind of have to. When you're reaching one end, you pick up stitches from the beginning end, and yeah, it's hard to explain, but I think I managed it. The only thing is I'm going to have a lot of very large holes in the armpit that I'm going to have to probably sew shut because I couldn't really figure out how to or if you could do it in a way that those massive holes don't appear in the armpit.
You can always just do some slip stitches.
Yeah, I mean I'll do something, but at the end. So yeah, I've just gone into the third. I think I had to go into the third ball of yarn just to finish the bottom, and I've only got 4. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do the full long sleeve, or if I'll have to do. I don't know. I should probably try to work out if I think I can do the sleeves or not, because I'll have to do both sleeves and the finishing bits to the front. So I'll try to calculate that out. And then this was annoyingly the Madeleine Tosh. It's a discontinued yarn, but it's not a full 100 gram skein. That's annoying.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things, like when you buy food. Well, I don't remember. I think I picked the yarn thinking I might not be able to do full sleeves. I might have to do like 3/4 or something. And I was okay with that because that's easy enough to just, just do shorter sleeves. But no, I was going to say having this skein of yarn be less than 100 grams. It's like when manufacturers just, like, especially with food.
Like ice cream.
Like ice cream. Like the amount just becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, but the price is the same. So I feel like this is what's happening with this yarn. And it annoys me. Because it's not 50 grams either. I can't remember what it was, but it was like 80 or something.
Is it like an even amount of ounces, maybe? Because they measure it by ounces.
I don't know where my label is. And it doesn't actually say on the Ravelry page.
That's weird.
Anyway, so I'm still working on that. Instructions are still good. There was more like photo tips for doing the sleeves, picking up the sleeves, and then how to do the in the round, not in the round. I don't really know how to explain it.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's pretty much that. And then the other thing that I sort of started, which I almost feel like I shouldn't mention it because it's kind of not really a thing, because at the moment it's this tiny little 1" by 1" block.
It's a pretty color.
Yeah, it's this green cotton yarn that I have. I don't even know what it is, but I think I bought it to do my pineapple cushion. I have a wedding to go to, or like the evening part of the wedding in a couple weeks, and kind of like just the idea popped in my head. I was like, oh, I could crochet a tie for Sam, and I was just looking at patterns online, and like there's they're fairly simple.
You can crochet a what?
A tie, a necktie.
Oh, for Sam.
Yes.
I see.
And so I started doing one just to like see how it would go. I don't actually know if I have enough yarn, so there's that as well. I don't know why I do this to myself. And I started making it, and then I kind of like asked Sam this morning. I was like, would you actually wear this? Because I had a feeling the answer was going to be no, and there was really no point in me doing it. And he looked at it and he was just like, no. So I'm not making him a tie, but I thought I don't really have a use for this yarn anyway. I'm just going to make myself one.
You can make yourself a tie?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Oh, you're just winging it.
I'm just winging it. So I'm using a grit stitch, which is like you single crochet twice into one stitch, and then you skip the next one, and then you single crochet. So you end up doing the same amount of stitches, but because you're doing 2 in 1 and skipping it, it kind of just creates a slightly different texture. So I'm thinking of doing like a skinny sort of tie. Now that I'm saying this, I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this.
Because you needed something to do.
I did. I needed something to do because I to bring places, because the sweater is too complicated to think about to like take to the pub and do while I'm drinking, while I'm doing like pub quiz. So
that's like your purse socks.
Yeah. Except just you watch. This is gonna be the only time I ever mention this again, because in like 2 months it'll be sitting somewhere and be like, I'm not gonna finish that. Why did I have to start that in the first place? Anyway, so those are my whips.
You can make it into a coaster or something.
I can't even. Look how skinny it is. For the world's smallest teacup.
Well, you can pick up stitches around it and just keep going, can't you?
Yeah, from here, but not from if I actually get, it just becomes a snake.
Okay. Well, my whips. So last time when I was talking about my Sagitta shawl, I said, I'm almost done. Well, you know what? I read the instructions wrong. So there were more sections than I originally thought. One, towards the end, it says to do this one particular chart. You're supposed to do it 3 times, and I didn't even see that. So I just thought I had to do that one chart and then another chart, and that was it. No, I have to do one of the charts 3 times, and then another chart before I was even. So anyway, so I was a little bummed, but that's okay because we were driving from New Hampshire to Virginia, and I have 10 hours of driving in the car if I did, So, and halfway down, I realized that I forgot to pack the second skein of the main color. I was so mad at myself. I was like, no. But to be fair, a lot has happened since since we last recorded. Your sister came to visit. Your cousin Jessie was from Florida. She wanted to come and see us before we moved. And then Jessie, the cousin that's the same age as Madeline, wanted to see Madeline before she went off to college. And so they were both visiting at the same time. Emily got sick first. Fevers, body aches, headache, sore throat, everything, you name it. And then Madeline got sick. And then Jessie got sick. And then I got sick. So it was, when I finally nursed the three girls through their illness, I started getting sick.
You succumbed.
I succumbed to it. So, but I was grateful that Madeline, when we moved her into her dorm, she was finally feeling better. Mm-hmm. But because of all it was supposed to be a nice visit. We're supposed to go to the beach. We're supposed to do all this stuff. We did nothing. All I did was run around, made chicken soup, and, try to get ready for the moves, for, the two moves, Madeline to her dorm and us to Virginia, and also refereeing the cats and all this stuff. And I didn't have the brain space to remember to do stuff. I mean, I'm lucky that I even remember to set aside the other projects I want to do while we're in our temporary living situation. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I was very mad at myself, but it's looking I'm liking it. Here, let me show you. Can you see it?
Uh-huh. So how many more chunks do you have left to do?
The rest of the chunk, as you call it, is only in the gray. There's no more of the other colors.
Okay, so you're almost done.
I am almost done. So right here...
You really are this time.
Really. Well, right now I've done 2 repeats of the lace. I need to do one more of that lace and then a different lace. I don't know. I don't remember. So that's that. I can't... It's going to be put in timeout because I won't have access to my yarn until we move into our house, and that won't be until the end of this month.
Well, it's not too bad.
No, but it's frustrating. I thought I would be done. I would have been done. Well, so
I'm really looking forward to seeing that blocked because whenever I look at the pictures of it, like on the project page, it's such a good pattern. It's so neat.
Yeah, you mean the sample one, not mine.
Yeah. Like it
is so cool. I think
it's just so clever.
I might do it again, but not with mini skeins, just with 2 colors like it has in the sample.
I thought the sample was with gradient. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. The gradient was gray, and the color was the main color, and I did it the opposite, where the gray was the main color and the colors were the gradient.
So you want to flip it and do the neutral as gradient?
As the gradient, yeah. And the color as the...
The only thing is, I look at that and I still think I'd want a rectangle scarf. But I feel like that maybe takes away some of the interest of it, because the triangle, it's a triangle, and then the sort of the way the stripes. I guess I say they're stripes. They're like stripes of colors, but also stripes of design.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like almost
in a different angle,
but it's asymmetrical, so you can still wear it as a scarf, the way you would wear.
And it's I guess it's less that it needs to be asymmetrical and more that it needs to be a shallow V to wear as a scarf.
Well, another thing that I forgot while I was bragging that I was going to finish it soon was that each row is longer than the previous row.
Oh, yeah.
And it gets longer or wider. So each row takes longer to knit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, so I did bring yarn to knit a Christmas stocking for Jillian. Mm-hmm. And here it is. It's just called the Triangles Christmas Stocking. It's a Knit Picks pattern. They're having a sale on patterns one day where like a bunch of their patterns were $1 for, digital patterns. Mm-hmm. So I just bought a bunch. And I was like, well, if I can't finish the damn shawl, I'm going to have at least something else to talk about when we next record. So I was excited about this project. And then I was just working on it while we were watching Netflix and just chilling out. And this morning I looked at it and I realized I've been doing it wrong. I've been doing... I don't know. I was just making the diamonds a lot shorter than on the chart. I don't know what is wrong with me. I don't like how...
So they're almost like squares instead of trapezoids.
Yeah.
Turn them on the side.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to rip it out because that's going to drive me crazy. I'm going to rip it out to the first pattern repeat because that's when I started making the mistake. There are some rows where it's the same. You do the same, But then at the same time, I was like, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to weave in my ends as I go. No. So, me thinking I'm so smart.
Do you have enough yarn to just start beginning? Like anew? Without touching that yarn for now?
Probably, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to rip it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not that far. So what I was...
But does that mean if you've now woven in all those, like cut those ends, woven those ends in, and if they're going to be longer, you're going to need more yarn?
Yeah. Maybe that's a good idea. Maybe I'll just start fresh, and then if I need...
Yeah, because then you'll have more ends
if I run out, I'll just pull from here. Oh my God. I'm so stupid. I blame being sick.
So the stockings, you're just doing the sort of the triangle diamond one.
Yeah, so at first I wasn't annoyed that she picked that one because I like when you buy the pattern, there's two. There's a reindeer one and there's the diamonds. And I like the reindeer one better, but she picked the diamonds. But as I was knitting it, I was like, well, at least the diamonds, it's easier because you're just doing a geometric pattern and it's easier to remember. You don't have to look at the chart as often, but I should have been looking at the chart. Oh god. Yeah, so that's...
So are you doing it in just the recommended colors?
Yeah, I bought the yarn. They were having a sale on Wool of the Andes worsted, which is the yarn that it calls for. And so I was wondering as I was knitting it, it's really weird. It starts, like usually when you knit a sock, you either start from the toe or you start from the cuff. Well, this one, it starts from the top of the toe, before the toe decreases, and then you knit it up, and then you do like a, what is that called? The heel, the afterthought heel. And then you continue knitting it up. And then you have to pick up the stitches on the bottom and do the toe.
Is that because of the color work?
I don't know why. I don't know why they're doing it that way. But I'm just following it blindly because I don't really have the brain space.
Blindly / not even looking at it. You're so blind.
Yes. Well, at least I don't have anything better to do at this point. I have no kids to take care of, just 3 cats. And we are living in a 1-bedroom apartment until our house is ready in like 3 weeks. So, I mean, I don't even have to cook every day because I cook something and then we can eat it, for a couple days before I have to cook again. I've only cooked once. I mean, I've only been here since how many days? It's been 4 days? 4 days. So I've only cooked once in the time that. But the cats are finally acting more like their normal selves. They were pretty
bit distraught.
They were. Okay, that's my whips. I don't have any FOs.
See, I don't have any FOs either.
I thought you were gonna have a lot to talk about.
No, I didn't have a lot to talk about because I was very busy in August.
I was busier. Or I was sicker anyway.
Yeah, I was a different kind of busy. Right. Well, what I do have is a really strange return of MOMMYPEDIA because we haven't done MOMMYPEDIA in a while. But the first thing, which I'm going to ask you, is not from me. Dylan asked on Ravelry for any recommendations for a ear flap hat. A hat with ear flaps, preferably knitted.
Oh, she did. I couldn't remember if she asked for knitted and or crochet. Well, Dylan, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that I've done like 4 alpaca chulo hats.
Andean chulo.
Andean.
Yeah?
Andean chulo hats. It's a Knit Picks pattern. I really love that pattern. I'll probably make more because it combines my love of color work and ear flap hats. So
and llamas or alpacas.
And llamas and alpacas. Yeah. I highly recommend that. It's not, if you do color work, it's not hard at all. If you don't do color work, I suppose you can just do it in stripes instead. Just follow the pattern and just do it in stripes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
or you could do like, because it's one of those ones where it gives you different options. So you can maybe do like a little bit of color work. You could do like, if you were comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Like do a pattern on the ear flaps and then stripes for the hat or something.
I think that's the only ear flap hat I've ever actually made. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. I might have done some other where I winged it. Mm-hmm. So that's not even a pattern.
It's like added it on or something.
Yeah.
Well, my other MOMMYPEDIA is not actually for you. It's just something that I had an aha moment about, which I thought I'd just share with people.
Oh, so you're the mommy now?
Yeah, I'm the mommy now. Well, it's not even me because I had help. Basically, I'm like fiddling around with trying to design something else, and I was just trying to get the stitch pattern the way I wanted it, and I was alternating single crochets and half double crochets, but not in the same row. So I would do a row of single crochet and a row of half doubles and a row of single and a row half double. And I'm pretty good about, like, when I crochet, I don't have the problem of my crochet stitches or my piece like leaning to one side or the other. My edges are pretty straight. Mm-hmm. And I know part of that is to do with whether or not you count the well, I guess the straightness. If you count the chaining as a stitch, and if you work into the turning chain, then your edges can kind of have little like scallops almost, rather than being a bit more straight.
Oh.
So yeah, I tend to have okay straight edges and everything like that, but my whole piece was leaning. So instead of having right angles at the bottom edge and my sides, they were just leaning either to the left or right, depending if I was looking the right side or the back side. So I had like a trapezoid. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And I just couldn't figure it out because I was thinking like, well, I'm alternating rows, so like that seems like it should be fine. So I asked some people on a group on WhatsApp, and it was Flick who finally figured it out that I needed to alternate every two, so do a single, half double, single, half double, because the crochet stitches, they all lean one way naturally anyway. So normally if you do the same stitch all the way through, it essentially zigzags because you're going back and forth if you're not doing it in the round. Mm-hmm. So because single crochet is shorter than the half double crochet, every time all my single crochets rows are going the same direction, so it's a short lean, and then all my half double crochets is a long lean, so eventually it starts to just lean towards the half double crochet way because it's a taller stitch.
Yeah.
And that's why so I was a bit annoyed about that because I like the way the stitch looked just doing single half double. Yeah. So but now I thought about a few different ways to do it, but I think I'm just gonna do, 2 singles, 2 half doubles.
So this is
a bit annoying.
This is something new that you're designing in your head, or not?
Yeah, that I'm just in the fiddling around with phase at the moment.
Okay, very exciting.
Yeah. So that's my MOMMYPEDIA stuff for you guys today.
The ALYSON'Pedia.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
No, I've been busy moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't really done... And I've been busy nursing sick children and moving.
Yeah. I've been the fun kind of busy.
Bully for you!
Because August is festival season for Edinburgh, so for anybody who's not familiar, I don't even... I'm just...
What?
Basically, I don't know, I just suddenly was just like, how do I explain this? the the one that people think of is the Fringe Festival, and I think it's the world's biggest arts festival. And part of it is the sheer number of shows, and the other part is how many days it runs for, because it runs for nearly the whole month. And then there's hundreds of shows every day. But on top of that, there's also the International Festival and the Military Tattoo and the Book Festival, and so they're all running concurrently. And so there's lots and lots of people in town and lots of visitors who want to come stay with us in our spare room for free. So out of the 31 days in August, we had guests staying for 15 of those nights.
Wow.
Throughout the month.
Do you know do you know what the history of the Fringe Festival is?
Yes, vaguely. So the International Festival was well, obviously it came first because the Fringe had to be the fringe of something, on the fringe of something, and it was on the fringe of the Edinburgh International Festival, which was started in the 40s, like after the wars. Um, so it wasn't necessarily Scotland specific, but UK, whoever started it wanted to have some sort of festival like that. Mostly, I think, to do with like music, maybe like orchestra sort of music. And I think it was a group from Glasgow who said basically, "Hey, how come you get to be the decider of what goes into your festival or whatever?" And so they came to Edinburgh at the same time and put on their own shows. I don't know what kind of shows, but maybe theater. I'm making that up. But it wasn't until however many years down the line before it started being called the Fringe Festival, or the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, I think it is, technically. But yeah, so so at the moment they run on exactly the same days, but it was only in the recent past that I think they aligned themselves that way. I think originally they were offset a bit. And then as well, more recently, comedy, people think about comedy when they think about the Fringe, but comedy has only become the sort of majority of shows since like 2008 or some 2015. I don't know, the 2000s, somewhere in the last 20 years. Comedy has sort of surpassed all the other genres of shows. So I mostly went to see comedy because Sam's quite into comedy. I saw something like 22 shows or something like that. And yeah, mostly comedy. Saw one tap dancing group from Australia and a sort of Irish fiddle player slash storyteller singer who was very hard to understand. Oh my God, he was so Irish. And I think part of it was there was a lot of Irish in the audience that he sort of picked up on really quickly. So I don't know if he was just sort of being more casual about his accent, but I honestly had a headache afterwards because I was concentrating so hard on what he was saying. It took about like, I don't know, 6 or 7 times of him saying horse for me to realize he was saying horse. Like 5 times of him saying truck for me to realize he was saying truck. There was another part where we had to repeat after him, and there was like 5 different lines. And I mostly got most of them, except for the first one. And it wasn't until after the show, and I was talking to Sam, and he was like, "Oh, did you get everything he was saying?" I was like, "Almost." And then when he told me what he was saying, it wasn't anything that complicated. I just wasn't hearing it right at all. And I also saw Ostentatious, which was good. It was they do a show, they tour it all over, and I think they've come to Edinburgh for the last few years at least.
Yeah, I thought I saw ads for that last year.
Yeah, you probably would have done. It's just a Jane Austen style improv. So they get title suggestions from the audience at the beginning, and then they do like an hour's show based off of that. And so the title that they picked was Mrs. Bennet, Lady Detective. And it was so fun. It was so good. Like I I I think that sort of style of improv where they're obviously very good at it. There's a pretty good production value to it. It's on this big stage. There's somebody playing the piano during like the whole entire time, basically, which is quite cool. So there was a lot of ominous sort of music because it was a mystery and all that sort of thing. And they do one story from the beginning to the end. I quite liked that because I think otherwise I saw another improv thing and it just wasn't as slick and it just wasn't as good, and this was just, yeah, really good. And now I've got Perth Festival of Yarn to look forward to this weekend.
Oh,
which
that's exciting.
This might not get released until after I go. I'm not sure. But, so, possibly I've already been, possibly not.
So next episode, you'll have a lot to talk about then.
Yes.
More fiber stuff.
Yeah, fiber stuff. And I'm planning to not buy much. I haven't planned on how much that is or isn't. But considering I did just spend all of August going to a million different shows and drinking a million different drinks, I could probably use not spending lots and lots of money on yarn.
You can... I don't know. I can't give you... Because I would just go bonkers. Any kind of yarn thing.
Right, well, I don't really have anything else to talk about. I feel like you'll have to tell us more about settling in and Virginia and things once you've had time to get to know the area.
Today is the first day that I'm spending alone because when we arrived, it was Labor Day weekend, so your dad didn't work. Had a 3-day weekend, which was good for us because we needed those 3 days to rest. Between us and the cats, everybody was just exhausted. And so the first thing I did was go to TJ Maxx and Home Goods. Shopping, yeah. That's, shopping is a great stress reliever. I didn't spend that much money, but I needed to get a few essentials that I either forgot to pack or didn't have room in the car to pack. So, stuff for the cats, stuff for me. And of course, if I go to TJ Maxx and there's a big giant clearance rack, I'm going to look at the clearance rack. And I bought a couple items of clothing for me. But now that I'm in Virginia, it is so hot. It was 82 degrees when I left this morning at 9 o'clock in the morning. It was 82.
You live so south.
I am not used to this. And I see people walking around in sweatpants and jeans and how can you do that? It's just way too hot for that. There's one man that he must have a medical condition because he was wearing it looked like they were, the really thick kind of sweatpants that they looks like it's probably fleece lined or something.
Yeah.
And a sweatshirt, a scarf. He was wearing a straw hat, not a knitted hat or anything. But just looking at him, I was just breaking out in a sweat. I was like, he must have something where he can't retain his body temperature or something like that. So it's gonna take a lot of getting used to this warmer weather because when we left New Hampshire, it was starting to get cool where the nights were in the 50s. Not so much here.
All right, I might do the spiel now.
Okay.
I think I've personally run out of things to talk about.
Well, now that it's the end of summer,
yeah,
we'll get back to a routine.
Yes, and our normal twice-a-month schedule, and it'll be getting cooler here. I don't know about there, so be more in the sort of make cozy woolens mood. I don't know how our friends in Florida and such.
I don't know.
Deal with it.
I'm gonna be just locking myself in the AC every day, I think.
Okay, spiel time. Yes, we're going to say goodbye, and I'm going to tell you that you can find our show notes for this episode and every episode on our website, which is kcacypodcast.wordpress.com. You should follow us on our Instagram. Search. It's KCACY Podcast. My personal Instagram is Alyson here, and my mom's personal Instagram is upstate_Viv. You can subscribe and leave reviews and comments and likes, blah, 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 on iTunes and on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts. And find our group on Ravelry. Just search for Keep Calm and Carry On Podcast in the group tabs. Thank you for listening.
And remember to keep calm and carry on.